Hi, I'm Dwayne Brown. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, a long, cold search for police in the middle of a mountain snowstorm looking for any sign of a suspected triple murderer. The search for Christopher Dorner included a couple of false alarms today in San Diego. We'll have all the latest. Plus, some new details tonight about what San Onofre's operators might have known about the nuclear plant's troubled steam generators.
I'm Amitha Sharma. When your job deals with numbers, you have to get them right. But a high-level finance officer with San Diego schools got some numbers wrong. We'll have a look at that story and a look at the very long pathway to citizenship that lies ahead for undocumented workers.
And tonight, you'll meet a San Diego doctor performing life-changing surgery on people with paralysis. KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
Hello, good evening. Thanks for joining us. Former Los Angeles police officer Christopher Dorner is still at large tonight. Dorner is wanted in connection with 3 killings in Orange and Riverside counties and is thought to have passed through San Diego this week. KPBS reporter Kyla Calvert has been following developments. She's in the newsroom. Police have been searching, Kyla, the area in Big Bear where Dorner's burnt-out truck was found. Has that search turned up any leads tonight?
Not so far. Police searched the mountain overnight last night and all day today. They narrowed their efforts to 200 empty cabins in an 8-square-mile area this afternoon. Those teams are expected to leave the mountain shortly after dark this evening, and there will be about 24 police officers in town overnight. A spokeswoman for the San Bernardino Sheriff's Office said that the search efforts will resume tomorrow morning as long as there's no conclusive evidence that he's left the mountain area.
Are we hearing about any leads in any other areas?
There have been false Dorner sightings all over Southern California today, including here in San Diego. Police searched the home where his mother lives today, and an FBI representative says they're trying to build a psychological profile of Dorner.
And that's what law enforcement is trying to figure out right now. Not only where would he run to and where would he try to hide, but is there any way to reach him psychologically other than wait for him to shoot another cop? That's the challenge right now.
Law enforcement officials say they are considering the possibility that the burnt-out truck and Dorner's wallet, which was found here in San Diego early Thursday morning, were both diversions.
And, of course, we'll continue to follow this story as it develops. KPBS reporter Kyla Calvert. Backers of an initiative to shut down the San Onofre nuclear plant are collecting signatures. The measure would temporarily close San Onofre and the Diablo Canyon plant on the Central Coast until they find a safe way to dispose of their nuclear waste. The group has until July to gather enough signatures to qualify for the November 2014 ballot. Tonight, we have new details on a report about the troubled steam generators at San Onofre. It says the plant operator ignored some suggested fixes for the units. Earlier, I spoke with KPBS North County Bureau Chief Allison St. John about this development. Allison, this report comes from the maker of the steam generators, right?
Yes, it's a report by Mitsubishi that is not being made public. Parts of it were revealed in a letter from Senator Barbara Boxer and Massachusetts Congressman Ed Markey. And yesterday we heard evidence that San Onofre's operator, Southern California Edison, knew before the steam generators were even installed that they had problems. Today we hear that an anti-vibration bar design team came up with suggested fixes for the problems, but the company made the decision not to go with those fixes. And Congressman Markey is quoted as saying that the only specific reason for that decision in the report was the company's desire to avoid a lengthy license amendment and extra scrutiny from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Edison has firmly denied the charge, saying it would, quote, never and did not install steam generators that it believed would not perform safely.
Now, do we have access to the Mitsubishi document?
Well, no, Dwayne, we do not, and our efforts to get information from Senator Boxer's office or Congressman Markey's office have been unsuccessful. The NRC also failed to address this issue at their hearing yesterday with Edison and say they will not address it at their public meeting next week. Meanwhile, the ISO, that's the independent system operator that's responsible for keeping the lights on in California, said this week that they cannot assume the plant will be relicensed, and they're proceeding with plans to find enough power for the coming summer elsewhere.
Just like last summer.
Right.
KPBS North County Bureau Chief Allison St. John. State regulators are looking at new rules for companies making furniture and baby products, dropping requirements for chemical flame retardants in foam padding. Environmentalists have pushed for the change for years, saying some of the chemicals are carcinogens. A federal study found no difference in flammability between treated and untreated padding. An official with the San Diego Unified School District raised some eyebrows in a recent interview, saying the district had hundreds of excess employees. He's got a sharp response, not only from readers, but from the school superintendent. Amita Sharma's in for Peggy Pico with the story.
It never pays to speak to a news reporter without doing your homework first. The new CFO, Stan Dobbs of the San Diego Unified School District, got a reminder of that recently when he sat down with Voice of San Diego reporter Will Carlos. Will joins me now to tell me what happened. Will, what did Stan Dobbs say that triggered corrections and consternation among teachers?
Well, you know, two different questions, but I mean, he said a lot of stuff that was very frank and honest, and then he said a couple of things that were just plain wrong that we had to fact check him on. So one of them was made a claim that that teachers on average make $92,000 a year in the district. That was wrong. We fact-checked him on that. He claimed that there are no studies that show that higher class sizes are detrimental to student learning, and in fact that there are studies that prove the opposite. We actually labeled that one huckster propaganda in our fact-check because it's just way off the mark, and he should have known that. But he also said a lot of very smart things, you know, and a lot of, I think, very positive things about transparency, about the district's need to really grab a hold of its kind of structural deficit problem, and sort of fessing up to the fact that this isn't just a problem that's going to go away with kind of one-time fixes, that it's an ongoing structural problem that needs to be addressed.
Out of curiosity, when he was speaking, when you put together the Q&A, you knew that some of what he was saying was wrong, and you guys do these fact checks. Why not just put the fact check right next to the Q&A?
You know, in retrospect, I think that probably would have been a better way to do it. We've had a lot of soul-searching about this. It's tricky. You know, our protocol for Q&As has always in the past been that we write up the Q&A, that we don't edit it, and then that we put it forwards. And actually, you know, before this, we had a discussion. Like, we know this is almost certainly wrong, particularly this $92,000 figure. You know, should we run it? Should we not have? I think in retrospect, we should probably have held it at least until we had the fact check, and then people could look at those two things concurrently. But I think at the time it was like, well, let's just, he's the CFO, let's get it out there, and then let's fact check him, and people are going to read those concurrently anyway. It didn't really play out like that, and you know, you learn as you go ahead.
So you run the Q&A and you get a response from the superintendent, Bill Koba, and he corrects it, but he's backing this guy still, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think he hired him? What's this guy's background?
Well, so the guy's background, he spent about 20 years, I think it is, in the military. He was in the Naval Air Force and has recently worked at 2 different school districts up in sort of Central California. Very, very smart, very erudite guy. He's got several degrees. He's, you know, I think he's got a doctorate. Just very, very smart, very well put together, very, you know, kind of has a lot of really good ideas and has a background in problem solving and streamlining and kind of saving money. So I think they hired him because on paper and in person, you know, he's very impressive. You know, unfortunately, he's really kind of put his foot in it, and by making these kind of simple mistakes or fairly simple mistakes and being so kind of forthright and vehement about these facts which were wrong, he's kind of tainted his reputation. So he's got a lot of kind of bringing back to do.
But not everything he said was incorrect. I mean, he talked about the something like 92% of the district's budget going toward teachers' salaries. That's pretty eye-opening, is it not?
That's right. I mean, I knew that because I'm an education reporter. I'm not sure if the public at large knew that. And you know, Scott Lewis, who writes commentaries for us, wrote a great commentary about the 5 things that Bill Koba, the superintendent, didn't correct, that were correct. It's also important to note that Q&A wasn't the entire interview. I spoke to this guy for 2 hours, and I'd say 95% of what he said was right on the money, very smart, very positive moving forward.
And he also said some things that are impolitic, such as implying, actually just saying directly, that the school board is pretty much bought and paid for by the teachers union. How did that come out?
That's right. I thought that was the most shocking thing actually in the whole interview, which is where I asked him, I said, how do you move forward with some of these ideas when you have a school board that are largely supported by the union? And he interrupted me and said, they're not largely supported, they're placed strategically by the labour unions. That's not something that people say. I mean, these are his bosses at the end of the day. It's not something, it's what everybody says, frankly, in private. Most people talk to reporters and say those things, but district staff, wow. I mean, people just don't say things like that. So that was pretty extraordinary.
And given that he has been that candid on such a touchy topic, are his days numbered? I mean, do you see a guy like this staying here long?
I mean, he may leave out of frustration. He may leave out of, the fact that his ideas aren't getting traction. I don't think they're going to kick him out for making a couple of mistakes and talking to the Voice of San Diego and screwing up on a couple of numbers. I think we'd have to be very paranoid to believe that he's going to be kicked out because of that. But whether he finds that he's kind of entered a world that's very, very difficult to get anything done, that district is so difficult to get anything done. It's so big, it's so unwieldy that it'll be interesting to see if he sticks around.
Well, Carlos, thank you for joining us today. We've got to wrap it there.
Thank you.
Recovering from a stroke or spinal cord injury can be extremely difficult. Physical therapy and other interventions can help, but despite those efforts, some people are left paralyzed or even with spastic limbs. Now, a unique type of surgery is offering hope to these patients. KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg says the procedure can produce some miraculous results.
In July 2008, Rick Constantine was involved in a head-on car crash in Las Vegas. The accident left him paralyzed on his right side. Despite surgery to ease the pressure on his spine and numerous physical therapy sessions, his condition just didn't improve much. Doctors told Constantine he'd never walk again, but they were wrong. Constantine can not only get up out of his wheelchair under his own power, he can also walk without a cane. In August 2005, Steve Isitz was riding his mountain bike in Escondido's Daily Ranch. He swerved to dodge something on the trail and wiped out. The accident damaged 3 vertebrae. Surgeons put in 4 plates and a dozen screws. After the crash, Isitz had little control over his left leg. And now? The secret to Isitz and Constantine's recovery is a unique type of surgery called selective peripheral neurotomy. It's performed on people who have paralyzed or severely spastic limbs. The surgery cuts out parts of the nerves that are causing the most interference with proper movement, while leaving the healthy parts of the nerves and all of the muscles intact. UC San Diego neurosurgeon Justin Brown trained in France with one of the pioneers of the procedure. Dr. Brown is one of the only practitioners of it in the U.S. He says there are several advantages of the surgery compared with the standard treatment of cutting tendons or muscles. Because it's less invasive with a smaller incision, recovery from peripheral neurotomy is quicker for the patient.
And we actually preserve the muscles. When we cut away a little bit of the nerve, the rest of the nerve fibers that go to that muscle will sprout out and recover it, but it's just less spastic. It's less unhealthy acting.
Dr. Brown points out the surgery doesn't reverse or cure paralysis per se.
But we can take a limb that's been very spastic or dysfunctional and we can improve its ability to move. Or sometimes they don't have the ability to move, but we can at least simply get it into a position that's less uncomfortable and more functional for them. That if the arm is pulled up in this position, they have no active ability to move it. If we can relax the arm enough that they can pull it through a sleeve or they can wash it and improves hygiene, even that is a good goal for some of these patients.
Rick Constantine didn't go through the surgery for such modest gains. He wanted to get back on his feet again. A few days after the procedure, he did.
I was amazed. I could not believe it. When I stood up, I was expecting to feel pain or something, and I mean, the more I came up, it's like, I felt like I was waking up from a dream.
Less than a week after his surgery, Steve Isitz goes to a rehab facility in Mira Mesa. It's a place that specializes in helping people with spinal cord injuries, strokes, and cerebral palsy. Isitz works on a treadmill while the director of the facility, Dr. Brad Marcus, monitors his activity.
His knee used to snap back a lot. almost every time, yeah.
Marcus says he's amazed at how much better Isaacs is walking.
So if you see right here, this is the classic butterfly pattern. It looks fantastic. This would be his heel strike on the left and his toe off. And on the right, this would be his heel strike and his toe off. And then the center of pressure you can see as it's moving back and forth.
Before the surgery, Isaacs couldn't hit these marks consistently with his left foot.
It felt like I was pulling a 1,000-pound lead weight through as my leg, and because all this tone was fighting it. Now it bends and comes through almost without any effort.
Isaacs desperately wants to get back to 100%. Thanks to the surgery, he's a little bit closer.
My end goal really was always to, sounds a little funny, but walk on the beach with my wife again. Walking in the sand is something that you can't really do easy. You take for granted, but when you don't have the balance, it's almost off limits.
Now that Rick Constantine is walking again, he's planning to have Dr. Brown operate on his right arm. He's been told not to expect complete recovery, but any improvement would be a plus. Constantine feels confident that he'll keep getting better. His new goal is to spread the word that help is available.
We've been told for years and years you'll never walk again. Paralysis is it. Learn to live with it. Medical technology is come a long ways now. I am the living proof that it does work, it can be helped, and I want to let others know.
Kenny Goldberg, KPBS News.
There seems to be universal agreement U.S. immigration policy needs reform, and many are saying a path to citizenship should be considered for the estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants in the country. Amita Sharma looks at the pitfalls in the path.
Both the Senate and President Obama's proposals for immigration reform agree the pathway begins in the back of the line, behind everyone who's legally waiting. But it turns out there isn't one line. There are many lines. Joining me to talk about the long line to citizenship is John Rossman, social media editor for KPBS Fronteras Desk. John, briefly tell me, how does someone get into the path for citizenship?
Well, as you probably know, there's different types of visas you can get, right? There's, you can get an employment-based visa, and then there's also a family-based visa. And family-based visas are by far the biggest number of people apply for family-based visas, okay? And because that's kind of like the cornerstone of immigration. You want to bring your wife over, you want to bring your child over. And so inside this family-based visa system, there are kind of two different categories. There's someone, like I was explaining, if I had a wife from Canada, bringing her over or bringing my son over from Canada, that I fall into the first category, and there's unlimited visas. But for other kind of more, distant relationships is what kind of the government calls it, there's a different category, and it's arranged by preferences, and there's a cap on visas. And that's kind of where some of the problems kind of arise.
And who falls into that category?
Well, so let's say I'm a U.S. citizen, my son or daughter who lives in another country who's over 21 years old, so they're kind of like an adult. My siblings, so my sister or brother who lives in another country and their kids. If I am a legal resident, if I have a green card, my spouse or child.
So you've spoken to people. You spoke to one man in particular
Right.
who falls into that category. What's his story?
So he falls into the F1 category. His father is a U.S. citizen, and he is from Mexico. And so different countries actually have different wait times because the demand on visas are a lot higher, as you can imagine, in Mexico than in Luxembourg, right? Mm-hmm. And so he falls into that category, and he's from
How old is he?
I'm not sure. He's been waiting. Well, he's been waiting in this line for 18 years.
18 years.
So he's definitely older than 21, and he's older than, 18.
So what is he doing in the meantime?
Right.
What is he doing in the meantime? Where is he living?
So he lives at his father's home, and he has a work permit. And so he's able to live there. And so what he's kind of waiting for is pathway to citizenship, to eventual citizenship. He wants to feel like he's part of this country. And so, I talked to him, he went to school here, he has a work permit here, he has like a lot to be proud of, and, he has an American experience, but there's a part that's missing, right? And part of that citizenship, and part of it is while he's waiting these 18 years, he's put off other things in his life, like getting married, for example. If he were to fall in love with someone who is not a documented citizen, he would have to go in a whole other category. And so, but let me backtrack. He's been waiting for 18 years. And if you look at this category kind of the government issues kind of visa, there's like a visa bulletin where once you enter the line, you're given like your date as like a timestamp, right? So I entered this line, June 1994 and 15, and I have that on a card, and I can look online and see like how far along I am, and I can kind of gauge, when I'm coming. So right now, the visa wait time is July 1993 for this category. The problem is, if you look back 10 years at the visa bulletin, it's moved backwards around 18 months. So in 10 years, between point A and point B, it's actually moved backwards because the demand is so high. And so he's in this line waiting, and I talked to his lawyer, and she estimates that this line's going to be, as many as 100 years long. So it's not 20 years like the visa bulletin says. It's actually a lot longer.
And how does this affect the 11 million people who are undocumented immigrants who live in this country who might want to get on that path to citizenship?
I think that's the question, right? When we talk about immigration reform, it's just so complex, and there's so many different facets and avenues. And I think one of my most interesting parts of this story, right? I mean, this wait time is so horrendously long, but the problem is, Mexico, for example, or another place like the Philippines where this happens, the reason the wait's so long is they're benefiting the most from legal immigration, right? Because they are going through the process at such rapid numbers that they're using up their cap on limited visas. So they're actually benefiting a lot, and we have a lot of Mexicans coming over legally. And so it's just so complex. So what does this mean?
But will immigration reform, will it fix the backlog in any way? Does it address it?
It does. I mean, so the President and Senate's proposals both address, that there is a problem with the backlog. And the President's proposal, which again is going to be enacted if Congress can't come up with a solution, suggests raising the country caps from, I believe it's like 7% to 15%.
And we're going to have to wrap it there, John Rossman. Okay. Thank you. I'm sure this is a topic that's going to be discussed more in the future.
Definitely, yeah. Thank you.
I'm Ray Suarez. On the next News Hour, Mark Shields and David Brooks analyze the week's news and preview the State of the Union address. That's Friday on the PBS NewsHour.
A sculpture depicting an iconic moment from World War II arrives in San Diego Monday morning, 3 days earlier than expected. The permanent bronze version of the kissing statue or unconditional surrender will take a few days to install on the downtown waterfront, but it's expected to be up and ready by Valentine's Day. It will be dedicated next weekend. Today's rainy weather should move on by next week. Here's how things looked in City Heights earlier this afternoon. At one point, there was a thunderstorm warning for San Diego International Airport. A coastal flood advisory is in effect through tomorrow morning. Looking ahead for the next 3 days, the Weather Service says we will dry out, partly cloudy around the county on Sunday with sunshine by Monday. The mountains may get a couple of inches of snow tonight before the storm moves on. Desert temperatures will be in the 60s through the weekend. Wet weather didn't stop several dozen people with various injuries and disabilities from taking a 17-mile bike ride from National City to Coronado this morning. Soldier Ride was started by a civilian 10 years ago in New York, and its first ride ended thousands of miles later in San Diego.
I used to ride for recreation, but never thought I'd be at the level I am now.
Stephen Peace is gearing up for a long bike ride on this specially equipped one-of-a-kind racer made just for him.
This is just a factory bike. It's that back end, which helps with the balance.
This is his 13th soldier ride put on by the Wounded Warrior Project.
I placed in the U.S. national team and went to the Paralympics last year. So,
for cycling?
Yes.
And how'd you do?
I placed 5th and 7th. So, not great, but not bad. So.
Not bad indeed for this 16-year veteran of the Navy who suffered a debilitating stroke and could barely move 10 years ago. He's now a mentor for other injured troops.
They said, well, he's probably never going to walk. He might have to speak a little slowly, which... Okay, so we got that right. So.
The Soldier Ride has been called one of the most inspiring athletic events in the country. 50 men and women from D.C. to Mississippi, Texas, and Washington State have joined their comrades in San Diego, for a weekend of fellowship.
There's Army, Air Force, Marines, and Navy, but it doesn't matter because when they step off the bus or get out of the car, they are your brothers and sisters because they can come to you and talk about anything, and it's just like sitting around at the bar.
The mission here is to empower and honor our wounded warriors and raise public awareness about the plight of our injured service members.
A lot of veterans tend to isolate. You know, they feel like people don't understand them, but if we can keep getting them out, getting them involved in community events and having fun and feeling like they're in a safe environment, it can encourage them to keep doing that once they get home.
They stretched to prepare for the ride,
All right, stand up.
posed for a group photo.
Can we get Stephen up front?
Then it was off to the Bayshore bike lane in National City with a ride through Imperial Beach and a finish 17 miles later on Coronado. Now, the Wounded Warrior Project is a national organization. It provides state-of-the-art cycling equipment to injured service members at no cost. You can find tonight's stories and download the KPBS app all on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us. Have a great weekend.